Coming up on 5 Minute News. US coronavirus death toll approaches milestone of 500,000. UN says no progress in Yemen talks over prisoner swap. And Texas freeze led to release of tons of air pollutants as refineries closed. It's Monday, February 22. I'm Anthony Davis. The US stood on Sunday at the brink of a once unthinkable tally: 500,000 people lost to the coronavirus. A year into the pandemic, the running total of lives lost was about 498,000, roughly the population of Kansas City, Missouri, and just shy the size of Atlanta. The figure compiled by Johns Hopkins University surpasses the number of people who died in 2019 of chronic lower respiratory diseases, stroke, Alzheimer's, flu, and pneumonia combined. It's nothing like we've ever been through in the last 102 years since the 1918 influenza pandemic, the nation's top infectious disease expert Anthony Fauci said. The US virus death toll reached 400,000 on January 19th, in the waning hours of President Donald Trump's office, whose handling of the crisis was judged by public health experts to be a singular failure. The first known deaths from the virus in the US happened in early February 2020, both of them in Santa Clara County, California. Meanwhile, the ambitious claim of the incoming president, 100 million vaccination shots in 100 days, is close to being realized. 1 month into his presidency, Joe Biden is on a glide path to attain that goal and pitching well beyond it to the far more ambitious and daunting mission of vaccinating all eligible adults against the coronavirus by the end of summer. Limited supply of the 2 approved COVID-19 vaccines has hampered the pace of vaccinations, and that was before extreme winter weather delayed the delivery of about 6 million doses last week. But the United States is on the verge of a supply breakthrough as manufacturing ramps up, and with the expectation of a third vaccine becoming available in the coming weeks. Yemen's warring sides did not achieve progress in their latest round of negotiations over a prisoner swap, the United Nations said on Sunday. The talks started late last month in the Jordanian capital Amman between representatives of the internationally recognized government and the Houthi rebels. The prisoner exchange is part of a peace deal struck in 2018 in Sweden. UN Special Envoy for Yemen, Martin Griffiths, said the two sides did not agree to release prisoners during this round of talks concluded Sunday in Amman. I am disappointed that this round of talks did not amount to what we saw in Switzerland last September, which resulted in the historic release of 1,056 detainees, he said. In October, the warring sides achieved the largest ever prisoner swap of the war, releasing more than 1,000 detainees. That followed occasional releases of dozens of prisoners over the past 2 years, which also served as gestures of good faith, stoking hopes the factions would implement the 2018 agreement. The prisoner swap talks were facilitated by the UN and the International Committee of the Red Cross. Griffiths urged the warring sides to work on the implementation of what they agreed to and expand the arrangements to release more detainees soon. The conflict has killed some 130,000 people and spawned the world's worst humanitarian disaster. The largest US oil refiners released tons of air pollutants into the skies over Texas this past week, according to figures provided to the state, as refineries and petrochemical plants in the region scrambled to shut production during frigid weather. The Texas power freeze led to a huge release of air pollutants, an Arctic air mass that spread into an area unused to such low temperatures, killed at least 24 people in Texas and knocked out power to more than 4 million at its peak. It also hit natural gas and electric generation, cutting supplies needed to run the plants along the US Gulf Coast. Shutdowns led to the refineries flaring or burning and releasing gases to prevent damage to their processing units. That flaring darkened the skies in eastern Texas, with smoke visible for miles. These emissions can dwarf the usual emissions of the refineries by orders of magnitude, said Jane Williams, chair of the Sierra Club's National Clean Air Team. She said US regulators must change policies that allow these massive emissions to occur with impunity. The 5 largest refiners emitted nearly 337,000 pounds of pollutants, including benzene, carbon monoxide, hydrogen sulfide and sulfur dioxide, according to preliminary data supplied to the Texas Commission on Environment Quality. You can subscribe to 5 Minute News on YouTube with your preferred podcast app. Ask your smart speaker or enable 5 Minute News as your Amazon Alexa flash briefing skill. Subscribe, rate and review online at 5minute.news. 5 Minute News is an Evergreen Podcast covering politics, inequality, health and climate, delivering independent, unbiased and essential world news daily.